Okay, so we've got one there.
We have Main Street actually unique in the whole country. Such a long stretch of original houses in a wide range of sizes and styles, and we have neo-colonial, we have neoclassical, we have Queen Anne's, we have Italianates, we have four squares, and a lot of these quintessentially American styles of building. And I think we are unique in the country to have such a long stretch of them and all in such good condition. So we really need to preserve that. And in amongst those, we actually also have a Frank Lloyd Wright, which is much more recent.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And his straight lines thing doesn't always fit with all the doodads, but
well, these days it doesn't look that odd actually. Next door to the sort of Queen Anne type houses next door to it, it looks all right. But at the time it didn't. So we do have to be unprejudiced with the new stuff that's being built as well.
What cool. It is we're embracing not only change, but change as we evolve as a community. Mm-hmm. So it's a great time. It's a great time.
Well, that's cool. We're what you mentioned was about 150 years old. We go back to 1850. We've only got about 350 years to catch up to Europe, though.
You'll have a lovely old town. This is a perfect American town. The houses in it move like American houses move. Half the houses in Racine seem to be on their second or third location, which blows my mind as a European, because you simply don't do that in Europe. You have house styles that we don't get in Europe. You have brick streets that we still don't get in Europe. It is a beautiful, beautiful old town and well worth preserving, and the age has nothing to do with it. This is the old town of the future.
That's cool. That's cool. And we demonstrated our mobility to you, though. I mean, we've been mobile for a long time, I guess. Well, anyway, let's take a break, and when we come back, we want to talk more about the tour, because you get to look at some of these houses if you want to. All right, welcome back. We're talking about Preservation Racine, and I want to get a little bit into the tour with the board members here. We have Robin Coventry with me and Pippin McKelly. So we have a tour coming up. This could be playing anytime, so I'm not going to say this weekend, but it is Sunday, what's the date of it actually?
Sunday, September the 30th.
September the 30th.
And the tour starts at 12 o'clock and ends at 5:30.
All right, so that's the specific one. There'll be another one next year, though, right?
Oh, yes. So we generally start planning for the tour next year pretty much the week after this tour. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So you may have missed it already by the time you see the show, but at any rate, we're going to give you some information, and you may want to really check it out next year, too. But what happens is people just kind of get in their car and go around and look at these places, right?
Right.
And but it's not just any place. You have a designated tour. Do you have a booklet here? Did you have?
I do. When you do purchase a ticket for the tour, you do get a complimentary tour guidebook, and on the back it has a map of all the buildings, and we have a church on this tour this year as well, and you can choose to go at any way you like. You can start at one house or the church. It's up to yourself.
That's very interesting. Now there's a ticket though.
There is a ticket. The charge for the ticket, we have a advanced ticket that you can buy at various locations in Racine at $12. And the day of the tour, you can purchase your ticket at 4717 Lathrop Avenue for $15. And this year we do have a new premium ticket at a $40 price, and it features a no-wait feature.
Now that's very interesting. I mean, I only picture that at Great America, where there's huge lines and you can pay a little extra. Yeah. But here at Preservation Racine,
well, we're trying to be a little bit
saying,
more
hey,
savvy.
you know what? Sometimes there's long lines to these places.
Yes.
If you buy this special ticket, you can move right up to the front of the line.
Well, we're trying to help people that do have a full day and are coming from Chicago and have a little bit of travel time to get here and to get back home, they have an opportunity now to take advantage of all of the homes without feeling too rushed at a $40 level.
And they can only buy that
At
the
the day of the tour,
Yeah.
4717 Lathrop, and there is a tent specifically for ticket sales. And I also will be there myself selling membership. We are always looking forward to engaging new members. We are 285 strong to date, and we would love to have more people join. And the membership level at $25, contributing level, and we would appreciate any help that you could give us in volunteers. We do have a quarterly newsletter that is available as sent to you as a new member. So please do come out to see us at the tour.
All right, and I'm sure we can get that up on the screen, all that information too, so that
Great.
easy to find, because any group that if it's going to survive needs members, needs support. And
Yes, you can reach us at www.preservationracine.org, or you can call. Our number is 262-634-5748.
Good. Now, one more thing I'd just like to go through real quickly before we get into the final segment, which we're actually going to look at one of the buildings. We're going to discuss one of the very unusual buildings. You're going to want to see this. My question is now that you've got so many houses on the tour, what have you got, about 20 of them, is it? Do I see
No,
that?
no.
5 or 6, 7.
Seven.
Oh, seven.
in total.
Oh, there they are, 7 there. All right, so
Yeah.
there's 7 on the tour. But there's more than that within your purview of interest, is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
And it says you're the Racine Preservation Society, but some of these I see are outside of Racine. What is your actual area that you try and cover when you're looking at
Within
these
the
houses?
Racine County.
Racine County. Okay.
Correct.
So any of you, well, no, you're not going to see this in Burlington, are we yet? But if you know of a really great house that's any place in Racine County, you might want to come to the Preservation Racine and report it to Preservation Racine and say, hey, you folks ought to come over and take a look at this house. And it might be something you're interested in. At any rate, let's take a break here, and then we're going to come back and we're going to look at one of the most interesting of the houses on this tour. Welcome back, folks, to our final segment here with Preservation Racine, where I have Robin Coventry and Pippin McKelly with me. We're going to talk about one of the houses now, and this is a most unusual. When you see the picture of it, which we're going to show on the screen, believe it or not, that's a barn, and it's a magnificent barn. When I looked at it, the only thing that made it look like a barn at all was you could see the doors for the loft, the overhead loft, and I thought, well, that does look a little bit like a barn, but otherwise it doesn't. And the other thing I looked at when I saw this is I thought, back in the 1800s, farmers must have been doing pretty good to be able to build a barn like that for their animals. I mean, they weren't broke like they are today, all scraping out. That's a beautiful building that you put up for cows and goats and pigs.
That is exactly what it was intended to tell you. So it worked.
That they could make
Yes.
money in those days farming, and they didn't have to use pesticide. Well, they probably might have used pesticides. I don't know, but they didn't have to use all the fertilizers and all the airplanes flying around and all that type of stuff to keep their crops going.
Well, I'm
must
going to
have done well.
qualify that statement, actually.
Go ahead,
because
tell us
it's
more
actually
about
a
it.
very interesting building. I remind you that our purpose as Preservation Racine is to identify buildings with cultural, historical, and architectural value. This one has them all. And it was designed to give a certain message to people, and it gave George exactly the intended message, which actually isn't quite the truth. So that's interesting. It
Aha,
was
so that building's
intended-
lying to me, huh?
Indeed, and it is quite
Aha.
deliberately lying to you.
Okay.